Friday, welcome back to Naylo's Thrift Talk. I'm Lola.
And I'm Nay.
And if you're new to our channel, we are a weekly live YouTube show that's all about thrifting and reselling and different ways that we use secondhand items in our everyday lives. And today we have sort of an old school thrift haul because I happen to be able to finally go to a few shops in person. Yes. And then, Nay, I think you might have a little bit of a different kind of spin on your home.
So I was hoping to get to a thrift store this week, but with my kids and with working and doing everything, it was impossible. So, and there was a local consignment shop that was having a really good sale, and I wanted to get there because I've always found high-end stuff there, but I couldn't get there. So what I have is, and this is probably a good thing because it's getting me encouraged to list. I pulled out my immediate listing pile, my profit pile, if you will. And so I'm going to show you what items I have there, and I can tell you like what I paid for them and what I'll list them for. So I have a few things that I'll show you. So mine is kind of like a profit pile haul. Lola's true thrift store haul.
I really need to do a profit pile and actually turn that into a listed pile project myself. So maybe you'll inspire me. But before we do that, we have our usual segments.
Yes. Okay. So Lola, what thrifted items are you wearing today?
Hi. Well, I have my first haul item. I'm wearing it. So talk about that. Whoops. There we go. So this shirt is one of the items I bought when I was thrifting. I guess was it 2 weeks ago now? It feels like yesterday, but at the beginning of the month, I went to New Hampshire with my family, and it was sort of I hate saying post-COVID because now with Delta, it feels like we maybe enjoyed a very small window when things felt a little bit more normal, but my parents really wanted to do like a family vacation. So we went to New Hampshire, and I was not expecting the thrifting to be as good as it was. So I went to a bunch of antique stores, thrift stores, and so I'll be talking a little bit about where we went as well as what I got. But this shirt was one of the things I bought. It was the only item of clothing I really ended up picking up, but it's a Madewell top. It's actually like an extra large. I thought it was just oversized, but it's so it's a little extra oversized on me, but I really like it, and it's just like soft and cozy. And I'm wearing, see if you can see. No, not really. I'm wearing thrifted shorts, but you can't really see them. And then I pulled this out of my jewelry box. And it's sort of on theme for later. So this is an Ivory Elephant. It is real ivory as far as I'm aware. I bought it many years ago at a little consignment shop in my hometown, and I believe it is like pre-ban ivory, so it's legal to sell or legal to own at least. I forget exactly the details. I definitely wouldn't sell it because I don't want to get into trouble, and I don't support ivory in general. But I figure because it's antique, it's already made, and it's just a little beautiful piece, so I can sort of respect the elephant it came from by enjoying it. And then the chain is vintage. I don't remember exactly when or where I bought it, but I do vaguely remember looking for a vintage chain to put this on. So that was that. And then I thought I would share the purse I've been carrying because I'm finally leaving the house again. Nay, you might remember this. This is an older.
Oh, I think I do remember that. Yes.
An older bins find. I really love Capezio. The leather is just like really beautiful, really, really soft and high quality. And so this is definitely like an 80s bag. Yeah. It's one of those bags that's great because it holds way more stuff than you would expect. So it's a really nice size, nice crossbody. Nice. It's great for thrifting. It's just, don't
very 80s and very cute. Yeah.
And then this is the wallet I've been carrying, which is, I think, so far the only Louis Vuitton I've ever found. And I bought this at a little antique store somewhere, again, near my hometown when I was in high school or right after high school. And it's actually like a checkbook.
Oh,
So
it's cute, but
it's
I bet it's held up very well.
It's beautiful. It's like in perfect condition. Unfortunately, it's like a little too small to hold cash, but I don't carry cash anymore, so it hasn't really been a problem. And then the reason I'm pretty sure it's real is that it came with this beautiful atlas. And unfortunately, when I pulled it out of my drawer recently, I noticed that the vinyl kind of rubbed off on it for the first time. So it was like in really pristine condition until recently. But the interesting thing about finding an atlas is that you can look at the borders to kind of figure out how old the item is. So I thought this was also going to be 80s, but surprisingly enough, let's see. So there's Russia, there's USSR, there's no Czechoslovakia. So I think because I bought this in the early 2000s, I'm guessing it was probably from the mid to late 90s. So a little bit not as old as I expected. And I just wanted to share a wiki article I found while I was trying to date it, which is super helpful for dating anything when you have a map. And they have this article that is all of the national border changes since 1914.
Oh, that's a good tip for dating. Yeah, so, definitely.
Some really specific ones. So if you have a globe or a map or something, and I mean, obviously that this is 1914, you could find something even older than that. But I mean, this is going to be a chunk of the things that we find.
Yeah, that's definitely a good tip.
Yeah, so definitely recommend using that as a tool. And so, sorry, I kind of went a long time on that.
Oh, no, it's fine.
What are you wearing?
Well,
speaking of elephants.
I know, it's so funny. Speaking of elephants, I also have an elephant. So I have this, this is the White Elephant Saloon, which is in
Fort Worth.
So I've never been there. I got it. It was $1 in from Thrift to You. It was in, I thought it was just a cute shirt and I thought I'd resell it. But it fits me, and I don't know. I just decided to just wear it for the show today. So, which is really funny because it was random because you are also wearing the elephant. And this hat it's Athleta, and I think I've worn it before. It's kind of like one of my go-to hats for. So it's raining today. It's just one of those days where my hair isn't going to do anything great. It's kind of gloomy, and so it's a kind of a good throw on a hat type of day. So I have on this Athleta hat that I thrifted for I probably paid a couple bucks for it, and I remember I got it at the Goodwill in Philly, and it's super comfy and lightweight, and it's not like it doesn't have like a lot of bulk to it. So and then my mannequin is wearing a Lily Pulitzer dress that I need to get listed. So that was from my profit pile. So
is that a little bit of an older Lily, or
it's I think the label is early 2000s. So it's not
why that was my guess based on the style, but
yeah, it's not like really vintage, but it's an old-ish label. It's a size 8 if anyone's interested. So
I will be getting cute. I love the little like tiny pom-poms on the trim.
I was thinking of keeping it, but I think I'm going to sell it.
I feel like I think that about everything I thrift.
I know.
I probably say that about half the stuff.
It's cute, but I think I'm just going to get it listed. So
it's a nice timeless piece. Like a Lily fan is going to love that.
I think so too. Yes. So, and our next segment is our thrifted home decor items. And I forgot my item. So yeah. So.
Okay. Well, I have an item. Ooh, Becky says she has Lily Pulitzer fabric to sell. Lucky. That is always something.
Oh, you know what? I do have an item here that I can show. So.
Oh,
go ahead, Lola.
Why don't you go first? Since you're already up.
Yeah, so I do have this. I actually did I just got this fabric listed. I actually did list it. But it is vintage bar cloth.
That's beautiful.
It is Hawaiian bar cloth. There is think I forget how much there is. There's either, I think there's like 1.5 yards here. So it's not like a huge amount, but I listed it for $50. So with best offer. So, cause it's gorgeous fabric. I mean, if you can see the texture in the cotton, that is what bark cloth is. And we were just talking about mid-century fabrics last week, and I actually had it for last week's show, and then I forgot to show it. So I'm showing it this week, and you can tell that it is woven and not knit, because a fabric that is woven will have like some fraying on the ends.
Yeah, and then a knit fabric will look more like a cut t-shirt. I mean, because a t-shirt's also knit, obviously.
You can see the edge there, the kind of the fraying on the edge there. So yeah, I knew Jason would like that. He's in the chat.
Yeah, so, the colors are so beautiful and vibrant.
Yeah, and it's definitely vintage. I would say it's probably 70s.
That would be my guess based on the color scheme. But,
but very Hawaiian. You can see the Hanu, the turtles there. So. Yeah, so I mean, it's a small quantity, but I'll still get, a decent.
For the right person, they'll go for it, figure out what to do.
But I had an offer on it because I just got it listed, and I did have an offer for, I think somebody offered me like $25, and I was like, I countered.
Yeah, hold off.
Go that low. Yeah, so.
It's too bad there's not more, but definitely.
Yep. So.
More than 25.
So Lola, what do you have today?
Okay, so I have, it's not, actually kind of goes with your fabric. And it's not exactly home decor, but and I feel like I'm blanking. I did not talk about this on my new sewing machine last week, did I?
I just wanted to put up so she's listing boxes of jewelry that need to be identified and prepped for photography. So, and I know, and Jason said that he is listing his unloading his 6,000 so he purchased 6,000 VHS tapes recently. Just yesterday, he went and got them in Colorado. Yeah, so he's unloading them.
Oh, so that was a whole trip. Well, I guess Colorado is not that far for you, but
it was a haul for him. Yeah, he flew and then drove back.
Wow. Oh, okay. Well, we'll definitely try and keep you entertained then. So I had been wanting a serger for quite a long time. It's not light. I finally bought one.
Nice.
Let's see. Let's angle the camera a little bit so you can see. See the top of it. And so the story with this was I almost bought one on Facebook Marketplace, and the woman had only posted one photo, and it was a really, really good deal. And actually, I'm kind of kicking myself because I could have taken the risk and sold it for more. But she was just being really rude. Like, I asked if she wouldn't mind maybe sending me a video to prove that it works. And then she's like, well, you can come over and test it, but I still don't really want to go into a stranger's house right now with like the Delta variant going on and stuff. So, and then she just was like, not very nice about my very reasonable request. So I went on eBay and I found this one, and not only was it very well documented with lots of photos, but the seller did upload a video onto YouTube. So that I think is just, it's a good, from obviously I'm a seller, but from a buyer's perspective right now, like this, I spent about twice what I was going to spend on Facebook Marketplace for the certainty that, A, that it worked because I saw the video, and B, that if something went wrong, I had the eBay protection. So, I was super excited to finally get it, took it out of the box. Everything was there. It is not perfectly threaded right now, but I did take the time to thread it and test it, and everything was working just like it said it would on the listing. So I was super happy. I got a really good deal on it, even though it was more. It was still about $150 less than I would have paid on like a refurbished sewing machine website. And I think I paid about $200, and on the manufacturer's website, they recommend a new one goes for about $1,000. So really happy with my purchase and buying used. What does a serger do? A serger is a sewing machine that does the kind of edge that you often will see on the inside of commercial. Let's see. I have a serged edge on my shirt right here. So this kind of overlock. It's also called an overlocker.
It's like on the seams.
Yeah. So what it does is it actually sews and cuts off the edge of the fabric. So instead of having a a seam allowance on the inside, it cuts off all the extra fabric. It's much, much faster. So that's why you'll see a lot of like fast fashion clothing will use that kind of edge. But it is a usually more expensive kind of machine. They haven't made home versions of a serger for nearly as long as they've made home sewing machines. So if you find, even from like the 70s, sergers weren't really something that people owned at home. So you'll find that there'll be like books that teach you how to kind of do workarounds with your regular sewing machine. So it totally revolutionized what you could do as a home sewer. And they're really fantastic for sewing knits. So that makes sewing a knit fabric that much easier. And it's just a tool that completely expands what you can do. So you don't need one to sew. Obviously, I haven't had one, and this is my first one, and I've been sewing for most of my life. But it's really exciting.
Yeah.
So if you find one thrifted, it's worth picking up and testing.
Yeah.
There's always YouTube videos for most major brands. So you can figure out whether or not it's working that way. And if it's not, the parts are also something you could part out. So worth looking out for.
So our next segment is Jason is saying he was saying 1,000 miles driving by himself over 2 days. Yes.
Did you stop and thrift on the way? Because I would be very tempted and probably not have any more room in my car.
Yeah, he did do some thrifting. So I watched his show last night, and I know his travels, he found a $300 cookie jar that he wanted but didn't get because it was $300. And I don't know what else he got, but so it was a little crazy. I mean, yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to go back and watch that. I'm sorry.
It was like a planes, trains, and automobiles story. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, my thrifting trip sounds so much tamer in comparison now.
I think it was, yeah. Then loading 6,000 VHS tapes into, and driving, all that distance. So I have one entry for this, and I sold these a couple of weeks ago, but it's crazy. So what's crazy about these is that they were, and I thought so bigger is usually better. Like plus size clothing sells well, bigger size shoes sell because people are looking for them and they have trouble finding them in like retail stores. They turn to the secondhand market for them. However, bigger is not always the best because when you have like a really rare size, it's a harder sell. So these were men's size 18. Now, just to put that in perspective, So
that's like basketball player size feet.
It's
right?
like ridiculous. So my dad was a big guy. And Jason's probably, he's a big guy too. So, and these would be like huge on Jason. So my dad was about 6'5", 6'6". My dad was a really tall guy. Mm-hmm. So, but he wore a size 15 Triple E shoe, which is like extra wide. So he had to go online to search out to buy his shoes. I sadly am trying to sell, he had a lot of new shoes that he left behind, when he passed away. So I'm trying to sell some of those now. And, because, they're in great shape and people are looking for the bigger sizes. However, when you get to a size 18, that is like really hard to find someone. It's hard to find a buyer. So these sat for a long time. I actually got them in the bins and I paid like next to nothing for them. And I finally sold them a couple weeks ago and it was hard to find a box for them. They, wow. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Shafford size 23. Wow. So
that's a good metric. So this is not quite Shack size, but almost.
Well, to put this in perspective, to find a box for these, it was a big challenge to find something that was still within dimensional weight, that didn't bump up the dimensional weight on the shipping costs for USPS. I had to kind of Frankenstein a box. It wouldn't fit in a regular shoe box, wouldn't fit it. They were just enormous. And so anyway, I took a best offer. I think the offer was actually $40. So, not bad. And the buyer already left glowing happy feedback. So, awesome. He was happy, but it's just really crazy because that size, I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. I bet these are going to sell, somebody's going to be looking, but no, they were a tough sell. It took a long time to find a buyer who was a size 18.
I have a pair of extra wide boots. They're beautiful leather boots. And I have wide feet. I think I have really wide feet, and these shoes were too wide for me. So I have them listed high. I have them listed for $200, I think. And they've been up for a couple years, but I figure it's one of those things that's worth, leaving up, not dropping the price, because there's going to be that one buyer who wants them eventually, and lowering the price isn't necessarily going to, help find that person with that size shoe. So yeah, this gives me hope though that they will eventually sell.
Yeah. And we have a couple housekeeping announcements, and then I have a package here to open from Lola. So next week we are doing a show. We had advertised this a few weeks back, and you caught a glimpse of it because we were going to do it the following week, and then our whole schedule got a little off kilter. So now we are doing this show next week. We're going to do 10 mid-century, not MCM, mid-century fashion bolos that to look for when thrifting. So that is going to be next Thursday. Lola is going away again on Friday. So Thursday we're going to be doing the show at the regular time, but it'll be Thursday the 26th instead of Friday. And
hopefully the weather doesn't mess with my plans. But
let's hope. And then just a reminder, I am offering these packages, these discounted packages for online sellers. I've been I'm working diligently on people's designs right now. I have working on with about 5 people right now. I'm trying to get their logos out, sending one for approval, so I'm trying to get them done as fast as I can. If anyone is interested, please, by all means, reach out to me. I am N Shearstone Designs or NS Designs on Facebook, but I am everywhere. So just reach out if you're interested. And I can do other things and things a la carte. I don't just do packages for people that have stores, online stores. I do a little bit of everything else too. So I am a schooled graphic designer. So anybody is interested. And then I guess what I will do now is show.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So sent this today, and whoops. It's not super exciting. There's one item in it that is relevant to our thrift haul today. But I was excited to see how this mailer held up because I got a new set of compostable mailers. And these are just from Amazon. They're, not hard to find at all. And I just looked up before the show that I think they cost about $12 for a pack of 50. And it looks like it came through the mail perfectly. There's a little tear, but that's because you took the label off. That wasn't.
Yeah, I removed the label just so that I wouldn't be showing everybody our address.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that there's just a little bit. That's where the label was. But yeah, they held up really well. I have to say that they are in really good shape. So that's
really, really reassuring. I was a little quick. They do feel more fragile.
It's not ripped anywhere. It's in great shape. So,
yeah. They feel more fragile than the regular plastic.
It feels a little more like a lap. It has more elasticity, I think. But it's held up fine. There's not a tear in it, so
perfect.
Survived. And in fact, I'm having trouble getting it open. So,
and they were a tiny bit more expensive than the regular ones, but I feel like it's a good kind of branding for especially for Poshmark or Depop. Yeah. So this is
kind of this yarn. Yeah. So I sent some to Lola, and I was like, because I was going through some, and then I found more of it, and then she sent it back to me because she was like, "Well, just lot it all together and list it." So So, but this is something from Lola's Thrifting Adventure.
Oh, it came a little unstuck. I tried to make sure it didn't get.
No, it's okay because the cardboard held it. It just.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh my goodness, I love it. This is hilarious.
So I went to this thrift store in New Hampshire, and it took me a while to realize that all over the place they had all of these displays of giraffes. So it was a thrift store that was giraffe themed, and
which was like amazing.
Yeah. I do have some pictures I'll share in a minute.
Awesome, yeah. So I was like in awe. I was like, oh my God, that is just, and then I wanted her, I was like, you have to ask. And then she's like, I already left. So I was like,
yeah, I was so bummed. So this part of New Hampshire has like,
love it, Lola. Thank you.
You're so welcome. It had like no cell service at all. I was dying. Like I did not know how to function without my.
I mean, a giraffe themed thrift store. Come on, like that's like my dream.
So wait, let me find the right window.
So crazy. Yeah, that's like combining two of the things that I love the most. I have to someday in my life now. That's got to be on my bucket list.
Yeah, it is. It's like. This town was just super cute. It's a college town called Plymouth. And they had all of these secondhand vintage and thrift stores. I did not get nearly to any, like I got to basically one store because it has multiple locations. So here's like, this is some of their giraffes.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying.
And they have signs that are like, this is our mascot. They're not for sale.
So crazy. Yeah, so I want to know who is, giraffes are a shop mascot there. That is so crazy. That would be, if I owned a thrift store, that would be my store.
This was behind the counter. So I like leaned forward to try and get a picture. And this was like,
I also would have been dying because I would have been dying because none of the giraffes would have been for sale. So I would have also been like, oh my gosh.
They obviously they must keep any that like come through the door. So
crazy.
But yeah, it was too perfect. And then the gimmick with the bumper sticker is if they see you driving around with the bumper sticker on your car, they'll leave you a gift card on your windshield.
So cool.
Which I just love. So probably won't happen to you in New Jersey, but
probably not. But you never know. Maybe they'll be
You never know.
That is just amazing though. I want to know, I do want to know like who came up with that, like who is the giraffe lover or the owners, like just so Brian has a question.
I don't know. I feel like
I don't know. That's a good question because I do have a lot of giraffes, so
and then the other perfect part of this thrift, so I pulled up the website because I did want to give them a shout out. I mean, it sounds like it's a really nice local nonprofit. So it's a homeless shelter. They focus on veterans, and they have 2 locations of their Ladders thrift shop. So they're right across the street from each other. And I guess they kind of divided up the departments. So one location had the giraffe had more like home goods and decor. And then the other one had like a whole book section I barely got to, a huge craft section. So also my dream thrift store. And then they also had like a furniture store, which I didn't even get to.
That was so neat.
Yeah. So if you ever are going to New Hampshire for like a thrift vacation, Plymouth is like the place to go. And then, I drove around a bit in the area as well. And there's just so many different places to go thrifting and antiquing and stuff. So it's just a really, really fun trip. But I guess I should get into some of what I got because we've been on for half an hour. Okay, so I got a ton of craft supplies, and I don't think some of this I might list, some of this I might keep. So they had a huge section of yarn, and most of the yarn was.
Did they? I still am drooling over those store apps. That's
right. Okay, here it is.
Yeah.
So this was the yarn section. Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of acrylic.
There was exactly. So there's a lot of acrylic. So I pretty much cleared them out of the non-acrylic that they had, which wasn't that much. This was like the bigger craft, like view of the craft area. So in the back was all the fabric. I didn't get a ton of fabric there, but I picked up a little bit. And then I thought this was interesting. They had like cut up jeans.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was super cretive. And
now you can also sell those like on, as for crafters. So that's something that, if they were a good price, then it might've been worth to flip.
I thought about it. I definitely thought about it. I just didn't have enough time. I was with my parents and they do not have the same kind of patience that I do.
Yeah. Understood.
So I had to kind of like prioritize more than I normally would. And then there was a cat.
Oh my gosh.
Cat.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
With his own chair.
Mm-hmm. So this was the yarn I ended up getting, and a lot of it is vintage. I think all of it is vintage. So this is brown sheep, and all of it was just like one skein. So like, not really like a lot of room to flip, but kind of a good deal for me to use.
Yeah.
This is a brand that I am familiar with, but I've never used because it's actually from Finland. So it's kind of harder to find in the US, and this is definitely a vintage label. So I was surprised to see that. And then this I might end up listing. Is just one skein of worsted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be worth it. Yeah.
So I don't know if I definitely have more yarn than I'll use in my lifetime. So I feel like some of it I should probably end up listing.
Yeah, I mean, people use that for like accents and whatnot, even if they don't.
Yeah. I just realized, I think that it said $7. I thought it was $1. And I think she charged me $1. Because that seems like a lot, but
yeah.
So, and this is also like vintage yarn like this, you could lot up. It doesn't really go together, but I have so much that I could probably put, a lot together.
Oh yeah, people buy odd lots of.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the same fiber, or
right.
Yeah. Fiber content, Yeah.
The cat has giraffe color.
Yeah. Very cool. This is the first time, Lola, that I've actually seen a thrift store with like an entire yarn section, because
it was for sure the most yarn I have.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, and most of them, like the yarn is kind of like scattered about like in bags here and there. There's no rhyme or reason. That's so cool that they actually had a section.
Yeah, and then on the wall they had like tons of knitting needles, and they had a big jar of like the vintage ones, but then they had like circular needles on the wall. So you could go there and probably get, anything you wanted for a project. Like you could almost treat it like a craft store because they had so much. So that was really fun. And I wish I'd had more time.
Seems like maybe in that area they just have more crafters, it's
maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's there's a lot of crafters who live in like Vermont and New Hampshire. I think because there's, not as much to do. So it's a kind of place where you move to be in a remote area and sort of, baking things by yourself. There was not a tiki mug section.
Darn. Because it was like the NALO thrift store. It was like
it really was. The whole time I was there, was like, we need to go back there together.
Not the J thrift store too. They did not have a tiki mug section. Darn. That would be epic if a thrift store actually had that. That would be like Jason would be there all the time.
But like I said, I didn't get to every shop in that area. So there may have been another shop that was the Jason shop with the tiki mugs. Yeah. It is. I feel so lucky that I live close by. So I've been now to Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine within the last like 8 months or so. And Maine was also really fun for antiquing, but it was more like the antique shops there have like tons of architectural salvage and like not as easy to just kind of like impulse buy stuff. So I did a lot more shopping in New Hampshire than in Maine. So this is the fabric I got at that store. This is a knit, actually. We're talking about knits.
Okay.
Actually, no, I lied. You know what? It is a woven.
Is it?
Yeah.
So it's frayed on the end.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So before I washed
wow, that's
it,
pretty.
So this is definitely, I think, like 60s.
Yeah, it looks like it might be like a rayon blend. Does it have?
I think it's poly. I don't think it's rayon.
Okay.
It doesn't feel like rayon. It does
Yeah.
have that kind of a little bit more drape.
Yeah.
I'll have to do a burn test on it. I haven't. So I did carefully wash
definitely
these.
like 60s or 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like overnight soaked all the fabric I got in OxiClean and then washed it.
Good tip. Yeah.
But I have not done a burn test, which is the next step to kind of figure out what you have. So I think that that's one of the ones I'm on the fence about keeping or selling. This I'm definitely keeping because it unfortunately did not hold up that well. So this is like beautiful red corduroy. But once I washed it, it did it has, I think, some like maybe dry rot or something. It's not in great condition. But I can use this to,
sorry, I was going to put you on the big.
Yeah, good call. I can use this as like practice kind of. Oftentimes when you sew, you'll make sort of a dry run before you use the actual fabric. Yeah,
it's Brenda. It's definitely a bolo. Like, and a lot of thrift stores don't know the difference between the acrylic, the garbage yarn, and the really high end yarn that's worth a lot more, and they'll price it all similarly. So
right, exactly. So this shop I think knew their craft stuff because they definitely had. The natural fibers were priced a little bit higher. But you can find so many thrift stores where they don't normally, sell that much yarn, and they'll have it all thrown in a bin, and it will all be, like a big bag of it'll be a couple dollars. And when you see a big bag of yarns all the same, that's like when you really want to look, because if it's good yarn, it will be worth that much more.
Yeah.
So, the individual skeins, like
that.
Like I said, like this is, it was $3. There's not a lot of room for flipping that, but
for your own use, it's a bargain. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Fabric.
And so that was why I had so much fun on this trip, but because I didn't go to a single big chain thrift store. These were all small shops.
And that is a good point, Brian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to go shop by shop, but it's a little bit mixed up. So the first place I went actually was another little small charity shop. I had to drive back to Massachusetts while I was on my trip because I had to go get to a doctor's appointment that like I couldn't reschedule. So the upside to that was I ended up driving through a bunch of more small towns that had cute shops, and unfortunately it was like a Monday, so a bunch of them were closed, but this one was open and they had a ton of fabric. And this was one of those places that didn't know what they had, so it was not priced the same way as the thrift store with the drafts. This was my favorite, and I thought
you showed me a picture of that. That is so 90s.
It's super 90s, and there's a ton of it.
It says, "Oh, look at it." That should catch Jason's attention too.
Yeah,
it's Hawaii. Yeah,
and it's in great shape. So this one I actually haven't washed, and it does still have the tag on it. So I paid a little bit more for it. It was $10.
Looks like there's a really decent amount there.
But that's exact. I mean, I would have picked it up anyway because it's great. But there's
it's amazing.
So even for $10, I can definitely make a profit on this, and I'm. Again, so tempted to keep it, but I feel like if I kept it, I would probably like have it in my stash for a long time, and I should pass it on to someone who will use it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Badass.
I would just say that's a good. I don't know if you want to use that in the keywords, but I mean it does apply.
It is very badass. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And we talked about this in our fabric episode, I think. Some people do sell it by the yard. That's generally not my preferred way. I'd rather just sell this all at once.
Yeah, personally, I would only sell by the yard if I had like a bolt of fabric.
Yeah.
That's my personal thing. I mean, everybody does it differently, but if I have a greater, like I had just sold that, like I talked about last week, I sold that I had 8 yards of it and I sold it for $225. And if I had sold it by the yard, it might've been a slower sell. I would have maybe gotten, but I got $25 for 8 yards and I was happy.
I mean, it's that much more work to take it out. You have to cut it, measure it.
Time is much. So I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll finish the fabric I got, and then Nay, you want to do some of your.
Yeah, I have a few things to show.
So this was a couple quilting cottons. This one had the designer on the selvage, and I looked it up.
Oh, yeah.
It's collectible. It's like a Civil War era reproduction. So they're quilters that are really dedicated to
somebody's going to be
quilts.
Definitely.
Yeah. So this one I think I'll probably list because I'm not a quilter. That's like the one thing I don't do.
My aunt does quilting, and she collects. So she gets she's always interested in like scraps, because
yeah.
So you don't always have to have a large quantity.
Yeah. So both of these I think were 2 yards. So this another quilting cotton.
That is so cottagecore.
It is, right? This is another one I'm on the fence about because even though it's quilting cotton, I think it would make like a cute top or something.
Oh yeah, you could. It's really cute.
But if I list it, definitely would use cottagecore as a keyword.
Absolutely.
Strawberries are really big right now. So, and then this is another 60s.
Oh, so this one is a good lesson because you told me about your stain removal.
So I've been talking for a while about doing an episode on our cleaning tips. So I started finally doing some like before and after photos. And this one I was really glad I took the before because the after is great. You can't see it, but when I bought it, all of this red dye had bled. So there were just like huge red blotches on the white parts of the fabric. And it is pretty much completely gone. So if you see something that has like dye running in it, like fabric, it is possible to reverse that. So it's worth taking the risk. You have to unroll it all to photograph which one.
I think she's talking about the fabric. So I think that's.
It depends on the fabric. And actually these are pretty good examples. Something like this, because it has small repeat, I wouldn't necessarily unroll it all. You have to unroll it at one point to confirm how much you have. But I don't think you need to take a picture that shows that.
No, and when you do the measuring, you fold it anyway to measure. So what I will do is, Heather, if I just have a couple yards, I will, or a large remnant, I'll absolutely show the whole thing. I will stand back. I'll take it like outside on my deck somewhere where I can really, and I'll stand, from above, and I'll take a photo like that. That won't be my first picture though. You take a square. That's always going to be your first picture.
And include like a coin or something so you get the scale.
Yeah.
So this fabric is actually a great example of one where you do want to show
more of it because of the fact that if you just show a little bit, you're not going to show the floral one that you had. That's different. That's a square. That's that repeats throughout. But something like that, you're going to want to show.
Yeah. So this one, anything that's like super directional, that's in a panel. So this would be considered like a panel.
Panels. That's a good point. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that, and that's called gingham for those of you that don't know that type of pad is called gingham.
And this is super cottagecore.
It is very so those would be great keywords: cottagecore, gingham, floral.
So I will at some point we will do that episode on cleaning, and I'll walk you through how to get the dye run out of fabric like that.
Yeah.
This is called a cheater quilt because it looks sort of like a quilt, but it is one piece of fabric. And I had to get it because I remember at one point, like in my early 20s, I actually had thrifted a set of sheets that I used for years that had this exact pattern.
Oh, that's crazy.
Isn't that random?
Yeah, so that is also very cottagecore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's really cute. I like the colors too.
It's such a nice mix. It's very 70s. And again, another one where I'm really torn about keeping it for myself and listing it. But all of this, I mean, besides the Hawaiian fabric, it was all like $2 or $3 for multiple yards. So
I think Heather was talking about the gingham fabric, which would make cute.
Yeah. I could see someone also making like a 2-piece out of it, which is really big right now with the same crowd who would be into cottagecore. So,
oh yeah. How much did you pay for that floral gingham again? Did you say? I don't know.
I think it was like $3 or $4. Most of these were $3 or $4 for.
Yeah. So you really didn't spend a whole lot.
No, not really.
That's great.
Yeah, you want to do some?
Yeah, sure. So I have, so I am, again, this is like my listing stash, my profit pile. So these I've had forever, and Jason, if you're still watching, pay attention, please, because I want to ask you about these. So these are TDK C90 tapes. They are new. There's 10 of them.
Wow.
Look at that. Oh, now there might be a crack case.
Oh no.
No, I don't think I don't think I cracked it, but yeah, I better be careful. So here is, I have a comp for, so I have 10 of them, a box of 10. So, and I bought these, I mean, I'm talking like years ago and just haven't listed them. I found them like when I was moving, I found them and I just kind of put them to the side, and I finally was like, all right, I'm going to get these listed this week. So these are in my listing pile. But I found this comp. So 6 of them sold for $30. I have 10. So wow. I am not sure. There was 10. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I think maybe I'll try like, maybe I'll try like $49.99 with best offer or something. I don't know if that's too much.
So you think you'll keep them as a set? You're not going to do a multi-quantity listing?
No, because individually they really don't sell for much each. I mean, I was looking and the listings were like, like maybe $8 or so. And I really don't feel like shipping a bunch of $8, although I would make more that way, but
yeah. It's one
I just have a feeling it might be a slower sell.
It's a trade-off because you also have to factor in the value of your time.
Okay, so maybe I'll do that, Brian. All right. Because, yeah, if you're figuring $8 a piece, I have 10. That is $80. So maybe I should. Yeah. Okay.
Oops.
We both clicked.
We both clicked at the same time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for some people, that would be a selling point, right?
Okay. So I will do that. And it says Japan on it. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you guys for your input there. Yeah. So I will definitely trying to get, there we go. Yeah. So, okay. So that gives me an idea. And I did not crack a case when I dropped it. So I will be very careful and I will try not to drop it again. Okay. So awesome. So I will do that. So this I got, I did pick up one thing from Shop Goodwill in the past couple weeks. And I won this auction. I didn't expect to win it because I thought it would go for a lot more. I spent, I think I won the auction for $19.99 and the shipping really wasn't bad on this. So with shipping and handling, I think I spent around $25 for this, which really isn't bad. So it is.
Beautiful. Wow.
So it is St. John Evening.
You can see that's the Santana knit, right?
Yes, it is Santana, and it's got the original from Neiman Marcus, the original $12.95, and then it was on sale for $4.53. So, but
even that. So, what do you think you would list it at?
I'll probably try. I mean, I don't know yet. I might try like $2.50. I don't think I'm gonna get that much for it because St. John does not hold. It is new with tags though, so maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll go a little higher than that. But St. John has not been selling as much lately as it used to. At least for me, it hasn't. I still sell it, but it seems to be a slower sell, and it doesn't. But I still think I'm gonna try to get like a couple hundred for it. We'll see.
Yeah, that would be beautiful for like a wedding guest, Yeah,
it's really pretty. I mean, and it is new with tags, which is the selling point. It's new with Neiman Marcus tags, but
Right.
Still new with tags there. So, and then these were in, so that thrift store that when I did my last haul, I had made 2 trips and I showed some of it. I did do a bag. They had a bag you could fill a bag, a grocery store bag for $7. So I did that. So these were some of the finds that were in that. And I did get some good stuff. So these are men's shorts. They were actually like in the women's shorts bin, but they're men's.
Interesting.
So they're super vintage. They're vintage. They're vintage 90s.
Yeah, they're super 90s.
Polo Ralph Lauren. And they are linen, but so this is why they were in they do have some damage, some holes. So I'm just going to disclose that and list them on Depop and see what happens. Somebody will repair that. I think they're worth it.
Or will wear them anyway and not really care.
Yeah, or somebody will wear them, with boxers underneath. They don't care or whatever. So
yeah, for sure.
I have those. And the lady at the register was mad that this was in the bag, that it was out there because it wasn't supposed to be apparently, but she gave it to me anyway. So apparently they didn't want any new tag items in the to go out there because they had like the sale items were in like an outside area. So they didn't want any of the new tag items to go in there. And this I ended up getting for $1 because it was in there and she gave it to me. This is a size 5X.
Wow.
Really, big plus size.
Beautiful that pattern.
It is only, so the brand is, and it's got like you can tell it's new with tags, but doesn't have. So this is just a Walmart brand, Terra and Sky. It's nothing that's, but the size is what's going to sell it. So, but she looked at it and she was like, that wasn't supposed to be in there. But she's like, I'll give it to you anyway. So yeah, so that should, I should get at least like, $25, $30.
That's what I would think. Yeah.
So for a nice plus size swimsuit. And then these, so skinny jeans are not in anymore, but this print is so cute. And I think somebody will still be interested. So these are Skinny Mini by Gap. And the print is so cute.
That is super cute. So, and also with skinny jeans not being as in anymore, they'll be harder to find in stores eventually. And people will still want to wear that cut. So
yeah. And for $1, I was like, why not? So I don't know what size these are. They are size, I don't know. I don't see the size here, but looks like they're a smaller size. So
they're super cute and they look like they're in
probably
great
like around an 8-ish, 6 maybe. I don't know. I have to find a size in them, but yeah. So I still think they'll do okay. That's it from that stuff. But I have a couple. Actually, I don't usually pick up kids' clothes, but since they were going in the bag anyway, this is a baby Gap dress.
Oh, cute.
So I'll list it for like $9.99 free shipping and take, I'm not going to get much for it, but still I figured since I paid when you're filling a bag like that, little things like that, and it was cute. So
looks like a cute Easter dress. Probably sell sooner than that, but
yeah, it's like a summer thing. And then this was also for $1, and she did not see the new tag on that, or she probably would have had not like that either. But it's a Lane Bryant skirt, denim skirt. It's really cute for summer, and it is a size 20, so it's a good plus size item to sell. And it is new with tags, and it still has the Lane Bryant.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so I bet that wasn't supposed to be out there either. But I got, so I got that too for $1, or not for $1. I'm sorry, for the $7 bag. I keep saying $1, but yeah.
So it works out probably less than $1,
well,
right?
I think the way it was each item, like if you didn't want to fill the bag, each item was $1 or $7 a bag. So I just filled the bag. Yeah. So, and I have a few other things, but let's go back to you.
Okay. I have a ton of books that I won't go through all of them, but I'll just tell the story. So first, so these were from the store with all the craft stuff. They had an amazing craft section of craft books. And I definitely wish I picked up a few that I left behind. And then out of curiosity, checked the price, and, you know, like on Amazon, they were going for quite a bit more than they were going for in the store. But these I picked up for myself. This one is, oh, I'll switch myself back. This one is one I got actually for thrifting. I thought it was really interesting to see, you know, like it just has a lot of information on how to date fabric, and they have tons of different pictures. And it's all organized by date. So, I mean, the 1930 to 1960 is probably the most useful for me. Obviously, like you can see in my fabric haul here, most of the fabric that I've found is definitely after, you know, 60s or newer, but you never know. And it's just like a nice thing to get to know a little bit better, become a little bit more expert in dating fabric. So I was excited to see that. And then this is just, you know, like not a book that's worth that much resale, but a designer I like. And then this is another book that actually resells for a bit more than I paid for it. Just like a staple. So I was excited to find that used,
Right.
but if I found more than one, I'd probably list it because it is worth, you know.
But you're gonna keep them then?
Yeah, these I'm all keeping.
Yeah. Okay.
And then when I went to the thrift store where I bought most of the fabric, there was a woman. Just a second, I'll pick some of these up. So it was, like I mentioned, it was one of the like small local nonprofits, and so there was a woman who was volunteering there, and it was her first day, and she was going through the books, and her job was to weed out all of the books that had a certain color sticker because they were going to go in the dumpster. And she just looked.
No.
Yeah, and it was obviously like breaking her heart. And so she turns to me and my mom, and she's like, do you guys like books? Like, do you like to read? And I was like, yeah, I love books. And so she explained what she was doing. And she was like, take anything you want because we're literally throwing them away. Like, they're not even getting recycled. They're just going in the dumpster.
Wow.
So I took a bunch of books, and like some of them, like, I probably won't ever read this. This is apparently like a sequel to Rebecca, not written by Daphne du Maurier.
You never know with books like that too. There could be something worth flipping too.
Yeah. So like this one, it's a it's like a book, a novel that's been translated from a Hungarian writer. So definitely like a little more niche. So this, you know, worth probably in hardcover. I mean, there are a lot of mass market paperbacks, but I love like the old like 70s,
very cool
Gothic novels. This was another one I'd never heard of. That was like a hardcover novel, so you know, might be worth something.
Yeah, some of them might be worth it to flip. Yeah.
And then there's like books like I've never read this, so I figured grab a copy.
Yeah, for free.
Yeah, so I mean, they're all free, and they were gonna go in the trash. So like,
that's a good tip.
Driving.
Some bookstores and I know some like, you know, used bookstores especially and thrift stores will have like free piles, and there's always books. Like I know Philly AIDS Thrift has a free bin out front, and I've found some books in those piles that are in free bins that I've flipped, you know, for some money. So you never know. Yeah.
And then two sort of breakable items that I was wrapping in the fabric and then really worried that I was going to unwrap the fabric and forget there was something in it. So on an episode a while ago, we talked about ball jars and how, I guess it was my last haul actually, how you can date the ball jars based on the logo.
Yeah.
So I started looking for all of the logos I don't have. This is one I don't have, or now I do, but I didn't have before, and it is from the 20s. So you can tell because it has the foot on the A is like the main way to tell. So that was really fun to find. And then this is sort of a holy grail item for me. This is a dish from a place called Fish's Eddy, which is like an institution in New York that sells their own designs of like dishware as well as vintage dishes. and it's very expensive. I have never been able to, well, I mean, I have been able to justify the price, I guess I should say.
I have never heard of it.
Oh my gosh, no, you would love, I mean, it's such a fun store to look through. It's in New York City.
What's it called again?
Fish's Eddy. So the logo's on the back, and as well as the price, it's $1.25.
What fishes? Like the fish that swim?
Yeah, Fish's Eddy.
Okay.
This is their design inspired by the Holland Tunnel. So there's like when you cross the state line in the Holland Tunnel, like that. And it had like a matching mug to it. So I didn't find this dish on like any comps for it, but I did find the mug. The mug was worth like $25 secondhand. So
what would the dish would be worth? I'd bet that would be worth
a bit more, I think.
Probably a good $50, right? I mean,
yeah. So I'm kind of tempted. I'm tempted to list it, sell it, and then buy the mugs because I would use the mugs more.
You could do that, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a little on the fence. I mean, I haven't entertained in ages, so I also don't think like dishes like this aren't something that I'm, thinking about using in the near future, and maybe that will change. But I definitely love the mugs. So
very cool. Yeah. Interesting. And it's a new brand for me. So
yeah, it's a great if you're in New York, it's a great store to
Heather, it's a new brand for Heather too. So
Heather, so the shop with the books was actually not in the college town. That was the one that was in a tiny town, but somewhere between where I live and where I was staying in New Hampshire. So,
however, there's still something always better than throwing things in the trash.
Even sending them to like a recycling, something like that. They were literally just going to put them in the dumpster. I couldn't believe it. I know I need to sell stuff. Thanks for the reminder, Heather.
Oh, I know. So yeah, so do I. Yes, we all have.
Okay, so I have one more thing to share.
Okay.
And then do you want to do? We're already at an hour, but
I don't need to show anything else. We can just.
Okay. So this is actually something I bought at an antique store. And it was really well priced. I think I paid $8 for the whole lot. And they're kind of hard to show because they're buttons. But this is a mix of jet and faux jet glass buttons.
Oh, okay.
So they're from the Victorian era.
So can you explain what jet glass is?
Yeah. So jet is a black material. It's where the phrase like jet black, that's where it comes from. And it is actually like a petrified wood. So in the Victorian period, when people were wearing like morning jewelry or morning dress, it was very popular as a form of like mourning. And sometimes you will find what's called like French jet or faux jet, which is actually made of glass. And so there are different ways you can tell the difference. I think this one's glass.
Okay.
The biggest way is just by touch. So it's hard to show, obviously, touch through the screen, but glass will feel a little bit cool to the touch. And then jet, because it's actually made of wood, will feel kind of dull and not cool. It'll feel room temperature. And if you find something carved like this, it's hard to get focused, sorry. You can also look really closely and see the like.
It's got like a basket weave on it, kind of.
Yeah. This one has like a little, pretty.
I did not know that that's where jet black came from.
Yeah, this one's a little bit more intricate. Okay. You can kind of see the way it looks like it's carved into wood when you look up really close. So I was super excited to find this set because I mean it's Victorian period's a little bit older, and I have a couple pieces of jet jewelry, but it's something I've wanted to kind of collect a little bit more and just haven't come across.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure what I'll use them for. I'm really tempted to turn at least some of it into jewelry, like make it into a ring or a pendant or something, because they're just so beautiful.
That's a good point. And crafters do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what did you pay for that lot of them?
$8, I think.
Okay.
For all of them.
Yeah, I would not have known to pick those up. So you just taught me.
Yeah. So I mean, that was definitely something for myself. That is one of the things I did not even think about, buying to resell. But
right. But it's good to information for people that might want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
great
my
haul. Very cool. I love it. You did good. I think you did really well, and some education in there too.
If and when I do part with some of that fabric, I'll report back.
Yeah, definitely. So we do have some breaking thrifting news for you guys today. So this is really sad, and but luckily, eBay cracked down on them, and they did get, they got into some hefty trouble. So a pharmacist he was charged criminal charges for doing this. A pharmacist, and that's the thing that kills me. Not just like, some Joe Schmo seller. A pharmacist is charged with selling COVID-19 vaccine cards for $10 on eBay. So yeah, he was a Chicago pharmacist, and he sold 125 authentic CDC and prevention vaccination cards to 11 buyers in March and April. So these were not fakes, but they were actually authentic CDC cards that he sold. So this was a criminal. The Department of Justice and its law enforcement partners are committed to protecting the American people, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this is like a big offense, because it's actually using government, like that's a government agency. Yeah, that's not. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sure this is also unfortunately happening all over. And it was interesting. I thought that they were going to talk about kind of how eBay was responding, but it was very much about the law enforcement response. So clearly it's being taken very seriously, and it's not even, in eBay's hands at that point.
I would think that would go over eBay's head, they obviously but that's crazy. And just get vaccinated, people. I mean,
it's free.
My little public service announcement there, but
right? You can get vaccinated for free, or you can pay, $10.
Or you can pay $10 for a card, and or just get the vaccine for free. Insane. Yeah. So that was crazy. And then so obviously we are not in the trading. We're not trading card sellers. We're not in that community. But I've heard this has caused quite a stir in the trading card seller community, which is, so PWCC is a huge sports card company that seller that they sell tons. They were selling tons of sports cards on eBay, and I guess trading cards of, I think trading cards of other sorts. And they got kicked off of eBay due to shill bidding. So if you don't know what shill bidding is, it is kind of like fake bidding on your or I guess that would be bidding up your own item. Yeah. So that the price goes higher. Yeah. That's what shill, I'm sorry. It's not. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting that they mentioned I think they're quoted in this article as saying that they have their own platform that they're setting up, so they don't even care that they're kicked off eBay. But it almost made me wonder if they had that as a backup and sort of knew at some point they'd get caught, and then, they had a contingency plan. It just seems slimy.
It does. Shill bidding happens when anyone, including family, friends, roommates, employees, or online connections, bid on an item with the intent to artificially increase its price or desirability, according to eBay's definition on its website. And that will get you kicked off of eBay, even if you are a big, huge seller, apparently. So yeah, so that was that caused a little bit of a stir, but they were booted. So. And rightly so, because there are probably, there's a lot of smaller sellers, a lot of honest sellers out there, and that hurts everybody. So, and the buyers who are paying more for, when the price is artificially inflated.
Exactly.
So, and I do have a few sales this week. Lola was on vacation, so she does not have anything. I need to list. I've been doing a lot of lot like heavy on the graphic design work this week, so I really haven't listed, but I did have a few sales. And
I did take a ton of photos. I need to finish
good.
those listings, but I
That's
did
really
a whole
good.
batch of photos, so that was good.
So I showed this on our episode, on our mid-century episode last week. I showed this exact fabric, and it sold. So this was a vintage house and home fabric, and it was it's not it was a textured woven fabric. It's not bark cloth. It is upholstery, but you can see the texture there. And I only had 1 yard of it, and it sold for $29.99 plus shipping.
Not bad for 1 yard, yeah.
Yeah, so that was great, and also relevant because I had just showed it on our show. So, and then I sold this I took a best offer of 13, and I sold it to a very sweet grandma who messaged me that she purchased it at night, or I think actually I sent the offer. It was like I sent the offer out, and then she wrote me this really cute thank you note saying she wrote this really cute thank you saying, I thank you for the offer. I appreciate it. I can't pay tonight because I'm waiting for a deposit or something, but I'll pay first thing in the morning. It's for my granddaughter. She's having a Hello Kitty birthday party, and I'm so excited. So I was like, no problem. You can pay in the morning. That's not a problem. I mean, usually people don't say anything and they just don't.
Right.
But for her, she was such a sweet lady. And so I sent that out, and hopefully her granddaughter will be happy with it. And I paid $1 for that. So, I mean, for $13 plus shipping, that was a decent profit. Not a big sale, but still. And I don't sell a lot of kids' clothes, but that was one that also came from Thrift to You. So that was.
Oh yeah, and it's not a bad price for a kids item.
No, it's really not. It's a cute dress. So, yeah. So, and then I sold this. So this was actually. Might have shown it on our Y2K show. This is actually mine from back in like the early 2000s. So it is actual vintage Y2K. I remember I bought it at Macy's like in probably 2000, like very, very early 2000s or late 90s. And it sold for $22.50 on Depop. So, and and I did disclose that it was coming apart on the seam a little bit. So yeah, I was very happy with that. So look for those. And I got the idea actually when we did that episode, I was like, you know what? I got to get my Y2. I knew I had a lot of like the Y2K jeans that I have and all. Get them listed. If you have any of those items, get them listed now because on Depop, they are really trending. So, wow. So Jason found a bonus.
Oh, gross.
Oh, not a good bonus. Wow. And he transported that all. Yeah, that's not a good bonus. I hope there's no other bonuses like that. Wow. Yeah, I remember the Sanrio stores back in the 80s and 90s. There was one called a mall store called Pandemonium that sold like all the Sanrio, the Hello Kitty. There was a frog, I forget his name.
I don't think we had that, or maybe I just wasn't into it.
It's because I'm showing my age, Lola. It's because you're a youngster.
I guess so.
All right.
A little too young.
You can find. So somebody was actually asking in the chat that they up there. I don't know who it was. They were asking about our stores. So if you're watching still, this is where you can find us. So I am Thrifting on most platforms except for eBay. Lola is mostly Run Lola Run. On eBay, we are Colbright Dazzle and Low 2-by. And if you have any questions, if you have an idea from an upcoming video, if you want to be a guest, we do love suggestions. We need some suggestions. We're going to be doing a 1K show in a couple of weeks because we hit our 1K subscribers. And we are going to be, I need to do a little graphic for this for next week, but we are going to be asking for some of your, oh, that's for a different show. I'm sorry. if you have any ideas for that show, let us know, because we're going to be doing like kind of like a throwback of summer, but we're doing another show in the future, which I'll talk about, like a dud show where we're going to be maybe giving you some suggestions on some of your duds, some of your dud listings, some things that you're having trouble selling. So if you want to submit any listings to us, we're going to be starting to ask for that too, for that show. And anything that I left out, Lola?
No, I think you got it all.
Okay. And then next week, again, Thursday, not Friday, the 26th, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, we'll be talking about 10 mid-century fashion bolos. So we will see you then.
Yes.
And
Can't wait.
have a great week, everybody.
See you soon. Bye.